Ever wonder why you can't win at poker? It's because you're ignoring the same 5 fundamental strategies that separate the losers from winners at the table. I continue to use them and have been profitable every year of my poker career. So in this video, I'm going to tell you each strategy and explain them to instantly set you up for bigger wins. The first strategy is an extremely simple one to implement in your game. Have you ever found yourself just playing too many hands at the table and getting into many uncomfortable situations? Well, all you have to do is have a low or normal VPIP. If you are not familiar, VPIP stands for voluntarily put in pot. It is the percent of hands a player chooses to play pre-flop by calling or raising. It does not include blinds put in unless we call a raise. I am sure you have watched poker streams where they show players who have a high VPIP and are praised by the poker community. While to win at this game, you do not want to have a VPIP of 50%, meaning you play half of the hands dealt to you. Having a VPIP of about 20%, give or take, is the ideal range you want to be in. Yes, this means you should only play about 1 out of 4 to 5 hands you are dealt. Some players who are tighter will only play 1 out of 7 hands, which is 14%, but still manage to be a winning player. Playing tighter at a table that is loose can pay off very quickly. You will notice when you have top pair best kicker, let's say ace king or ace queen on an ace high board, you will win the pot versus an opponent who has top pair weak kicker. Your two pairs will be better than others as well. When you have an ace, king, or queen high flush, odds are you will win all the chips from a 50% VPIP player who may have a 5 high flush. For extra help, I prepared a simple free live poker guide that will help you identify these high VPIP players, regulars, professionals, and tight players at your tables. It will also give steps to prepare for your next poker game. Scan the QR code to get your guide from my website or click the pinned comment of the video. The second strategy deals with attacking a specific player you never want to be. Please do not let people limp or limp yourself. When people limp, majority of the times it is going to be a sign of weakness. All the players to the left of the limper can now turn up their aggression by putting in raises, sometimes really big ones, causing you to fold. You want to be the player being aggressive. Let's say we have a strong hand on the button such as ace-10 offsuit in a 2-5 game. It folds to cutoff position and they limp. In this spot, I would raise it up to $25. Most times everyone will fold and we will win the small blind, big blind, and cutoff money, profiting an easy $12. What makes it even better is we didn't even have to see a flop. There are instances when the opponent does call though, right? This is not going to be an issue because we now get to play poker. If the flop comes ace-7 deuce rainbow, we have an easy continuation bet. Sometimes we get called by worse, and other times our opponents have nothing and we take it down. We can do the same c-bets on flops such as king 10-3 rainbow, queen jack 5 with a flush draw, and so on. For the last instance, let's say cutoff limps and we raise button to $25 and they decide to put in a limp raise. This is okay too because we can easily find a fold. People will not find enough limp raises with enough bluffs to exploit the raises we do. Sometimes people believe this is possible, but it is not the case in low stakes poker games. Even if someone believes they can implement a strategy such as this, it is not profitable long term and requires such a massive amount of adjustments, it is not worth it. Ultimately, we can raise limps to 5x the blinds for one limper, 6x the blinds for two limpers, and so on if more people decide to try and see a cheap flop. You can also increase this sizing when necessary depending on your table. The next fundamental strategy is going to come from a specific spot at the table. Have you ever thought about how difficult it is to play out of the small blind and big blind in poker? Now, how does it feel to play when you're on the button? Doesn't the game feel infinitely easier in this position? This is because button is the most profitable position in poker. Whether you are playing live or online, the amount of winnings earned at the table will always be the most on the button over a large sample. Here are some reasons why and how we can take advantage of others when we are playing from the button. To start off, please do not limp the button. We do not need to ever do this, especially at the cash game tables. It is most profitable to put in a raise when it folds around to us because we only have the small blind and big blind left to act. There are a lot of scenarios where they fold and we get to steal the blinds without paying any rake. This simple raise becomes even more profitable if you have tight players in the blinds because they will defend less often and just fold. Yes, a lot of small wins help lead to big wins in the long run. Another advantage of playing a lot of hands on the button is we always are last to act post flop. Think about it. We close the action on every flop, turn, and river. If we go to a flop and everyone checks to us, we have the final decision of seeing a free turn card. This is perfect for situations when we want to realize our equity if we have a flush draw, have second pair and end up turning trips, or check back a pocket pair turning a set. We also have the opportunity to play more aggressive against our opponents in position. This is the perfect spot to apply a lot of pressure with bets because players out of position will feel extremely uncomfortable. We can do this if it is a single raise pot button versus big blind, or even a single raise pot where we call button versus a middle position open. For extra help at low stakes poker, check out my free live poker guide. It provides steps to prepare you for your next poker game and what to look for when you first sit down. Scan the QR code to get your guide from my website or click the pinned comment of the video. The next strategy is one I see beginners and even intermediate players struggle with. You should know how to maximize your expected value, aka EV or win-ins with premium holdings. For the purpose of this, let's focus on playing pocket kings and aces. For pocket kings, let's say we have a situation where foe saw us on the button playing a 2-5 game and we raised to $15 with a $500 starting stack. It folds to big blind and they 3-bet to $60. In this spot, we should not just find a call. Can our opponent have aces? Yes, but that is not a reason to be scared and not 4-bet. Too many times I sometimes see players call here to see if an ace comes on the flop before being willing to play a big pot. We can confidently 4-bet, and if they do decide to go all in, it is perfectly fine because we have the second best starting hand in poker. Just because it happened to you during your last session does not mean it will happen again. By not finding a 4-bet here, we are not maximizing our winnings in the long run with pocket kings. Now with aces, let's use an example where we are in our favorite position, the button. Our opponent raises in cutoff position and we 3-bet. They put in a call and we are heads up. To simplify, we will have $100 in the pot and $450 behind. To also keep it simple, let's not worry about bet sizes. The board is going to run out king 7 for a rainbow, turn comes in 8, and river is a 2. What are your thoughts here with aces? We are going to have the best hand on the flop, right? So we can confidently always put in a continuation bet here. Checking back trying to slow play is not necessary and is going to make playing for your opponent's entire stack much more difficult. After betting, we go to the turn and see the 8 bringing in the backdoor flush draw of clubs. At this point, where does your thought process go? For some, they may think, oh no, 6-5 is a straight. I may have to proceed with caution. This is not where your thought process should go. You should mainly still be focused on betting again because there are still many worse hands you can get called by, such as king queen, king jack, king 10, and even pocket pairs such as pocket jacks, 10s, and 9s that are not willing to fold because they believe you are bluffing. We put in a bet on the turn, leaving about a pot-sized bet give or take left for the river. The river comes a 2 and our opponent checks. Now is the time to maximize our EV and go all in on the river. Yes, it is a big bet, but at lower stakes, your opponents are not folding a king here. They may even still call a pocket pair, which is second best pair because they do not believe you. Trying to be cute and bet half pot or a small bet is not going to maximize our winnings long term here. You must learn and be willing to play for it all when you have pocket aces and kings. If you are not and are betting very small with these really good hands because you want to at least get paid something, then it is going to be a long road ahead at the poker tables. This next strategy is one of the most crucial ones I see beginners and even some intermediate players struggle with. I am going to give you some quick tips on playing top pair. Do you remember how we just maximized our EV with aces the last hand? Well, with top pair, we can do the exact same thing in a line where our opponent is just check calling heads up. When you do not face much aggression or bad runouts, top pair is an amazing hand that wants to get called by worse. Now, if we do start to face aggression on later streets, such as the turn or the river with check raises or raises in position from our opponent, it may be time to run for the hills. Players in your games do not raise turns and rivers enough as a bluff. Simply put, if you face a lot of aggression, we can find folds, and if we do not face any, we should be comfortable with top pair. Also, the value of top pair decreases when the number of players in the pot increases. If we are heads up, top pair is amazing. Now, if we are multi-way with 3 or 4 other people, top pair starts to become very vulnerable. Our hand strength is decreasing because other players can have much stronger holdings in their range. Trust me, it is okay to fold top pair in these spots when chips are flying everywhere at the table. It takes a lot of discipline, but sometimes it is not good enough to get the job done. Good poker players know how to play top pair flawlessly. And if you want to become a good poker player, make sure you follow these 5 mistakes they never make at the poker table.